What's going on, everybody? Sessiion here. Welcome to kind of a DVD overview on how I feel playing against the killers of DBD as a survivor. And we've got ourselves good old-fashioned boy, the Hillbilly. I honestly am always so fascinated by this killer. I think he's really, really cool. I think that people also take him for granted very frequently on how strong he is. Also, it's kind of hilarious that his weapon's called the Hammer, despite that it's a. Oh no, that's his. Okay, I'm an idiot. Never mind. I was trying to think. I thought it was a chainsaw. Anyways, so so here we are. He's honestly pretty. He's pretty freaking interesting, honestly, because like he's such a high mobility killer, as clearly listed here. And the fact that he one-shots people so frequently with his chainsaw and the speed thing that he has, it's actually pretty insane. One thing I didn't realize when I was first playing this game was the fact that people had the capabilities of using other killers' perks with any killer. Even as I was playing as a survivor, I didn't realize that you can actually share the perks between people. Because honestly, if he couldn't share perks, then he'd be a lot easier to deal with. But the fact that he's able to cover a lot of ground and do things to create pressure for the gens that make it harder to do the stuff you got to get done while he's running around is pretty insane. So I honestly think that he's a very good killer as a whole, because again, like, he just has the capabilities of applying pressure and doing what he needs to like just keep you on your toes pretty much. He also has a great like fear factor capability, with his if you were checking out that like one tier listing that we did, we kind of put him in the like C tier category basically, because like when you hear the chainsaw, you're like, uh-oh, right? You like trying to figure out, okay, like, where is this man at? What's he doing? Where is he? What's going on? A lot of stuff that kind of comes into play really does add like the fear factor to his nonsense. But he just like really has the capabilities of just getting stuff done. So I appreciate that this killer, being like a high mobility killer, is not annoyingly annoying. Like, not highly annoying for high mobility, because you would always assume like if a killer can move really fast, then they kind of automatically go to like top tier, you know what I mean, like the Blight or something, or like the Nurse, because they cover so much ground. But I think that the caveat to his power is the fact that like he doesn't really have the ability to turn so much. Like, he can't do like a full 180 or like a 90-degree turn with his chainsaw dashes, which definitely does like add a lot of balance in terms of how he functions. And again, like, I think that his perks are, they're kind of like, they're good for when you need them, and they do things that are helpful, and you can definitely play around with them. Like, Tinker is a phenomenal perk, for a variety of reasons. And even like Lightborn too. I see Lightborn every now and then, because I think people really understand that like it's very hard to handle a bunch of killers using, or survivors rather, using like flashbangs and flashlights. But that perk is honestly great. And Enduring, I feel like it'd be kind of nice to like figure out a way to make that a bit stronger. I think it's on a lower scale of like of perks that people use, so if they could use it more frequently, that'd be cool. But I mean, it's nothing really too crazy, so we'll see. But yeah, his power is awesome. I think that as a chainsaw running maniac, it's actually pretty hilarious to see people like hit the wall sometimes. But it's also very scary when you see him beelining it straight to you, and you like are trying to look where to go, but you don't know where to go, so you kind of just sit there and just take the hit. It's kind of crazy, actually. I actually really appreciate the fact that like I said, he's a very well made killer. I give them so much credibility for making him as he is, pretty much. I feel like, though, there's moments where I get like kind of annoyed when he's too close. Like, the problem is that like if you let him get too close to you and he just is able to just full on send it on you, then like it's just a GG right there for that down. He just guarantees it. So, but again, he also has to really he has a lot of work to do as a killer, and I think that that's like the part of the balance too, because like you can have people all spread out working on their own gens, right, which kind of play a little bit of a mind game in that case. But also, if people are together, then he has a chance to it increases his chances at the same time of being able to either get one person guaranteed, or just force him away from that gen, or like give him information. Like, there's a lot, like I said, a lot of things that this killer can really rely on and thrive on. And I feel like people really are tried and true to enjoying him as a killer. Like, people have a lot of fun playing as him, I think. So I personally haven't played it myself, but I think I would enjoy it if I was able to, come up with a build that I found comfort in. And I know for sure that a lot of people have come to find comfort with him as well, especially when you combine his perks with, or a build of perks with his add-ons. It really does like work really well for his stuff. One thing that definitely catches me off guard, though, from me just like seeing it, is that all his add-ons are, involving the chainsaw, where he can, do stuff more frequently. The collision that comes into place with it too. The fact that he has a thing that doesn't immediately down you, but you get bonus points for it, is very fascinating. Chain speed, chainsaw turn speed, the noises that can be heard. That's actually the thing that would be very kind of add to the fear factor. So I touched on this a little bit when I was trying to put him in a fear tier list, and I feel like his terror radius is kind of something that it's just like there, but to actually remove the terror radius is one thing, but to reduce the sound of the chainsaw by where you can hear it would actually be pretty crazy. I know that the yellow one reduces it by 30%. I wonder if there's a way to just make it like completely like hard to hear, or like impossible to hear, basically, because if you could do that, that'd be awesome. And I'd almost say that people should actually use that more frequently, because I feel like I would actually put him at a higher tier list on the fear scale if I actually knew that. Oh, you see? Okay, so I actually see, because here's the thing, I personally don't know his add-ons, because I never see people use his iridescent add-ons. The fact that you can silence a chainsaw for everybody outside the terror radius is fascinating to me. And I wonder if this works in combination if you use like oblivious perks, like if this and what's it called, the Hex Plaything, if those two work together in this way and he's completely invisible except for the sound of him sprinting, then I wish that survivors use this significantly more. Killers use this significantly more frequently in combination with one another, because this is such a deadly add-on for him. I'm just so surprised that nobody uses it. Somebody will have to let me know though, because again, I honestly, I think I've played against hillbillies for like at least a year or two or so. Many hillbillies. I have never seen this add-on before. So I really hope that someone's able to come up with a build to really thrive on this add-on, because I feel like that'd be like the like a huge pain point. So, but now that I'm also looking at it too, I'm trying to see, because only the one add-on, the yellow one, that actually made it, it reduces the radius in which the chainsaw is heard sound, but there's nothing that really adds to like how far it could be heard. I actually don't see anything else that like you can combine that with, so that would also be a really cool add-on to use as well in combination with other things. But I wish that he had two add-ons to kind of maximize the sound of it, but then again, like this one add-on can do the job of both of those, but it's this is less frequent in comparison. So like I said, it would have been really cool to see that they actually applied this in some way, shape, or form, but I don't know. Yeah. Let me see, because then also as of the patch, he got a tremendous speed boost, which is cool. Oh, so you know what then? They I guess they never really touched this killer until patch 4.1, right? And then they started changing his stuff like after the fact. Yeah, because they gave him like unique music, which is cool. They added an audio cue. They added an audio cue from when he starts to when he roars, when he starts sprinting. See, that's actually like a very fascinating change. I didn't really think that was something that they added over the course of time. I feel like this was something that they had to add because the killer was doing a bunch of jump scares, because you don't hear him coming, and if the chainsaw's quiet and he just dashes, then it's something that people can really just take advantage of, like hardcore. So I don't know, I'm actually very fascinated that was like once like a thing that never existed, because I never really, again, I definitely played the game like later on, but I don't recall ever hearing the hillbilly like not do a roar sound. I feel like I actually just never really paid attention to it because I didn't hear the roar, I just heard the chainsaw. But that's actually really, really cool. But yeah, the fact that they also kind of reworked it as a patch 4.1 is I would love to go back in time to see like what it was like before this patch, because I honestly don't even know. I think by the time that this patch came in for the killers rework, I was already dealing with a lot of other killers that just were out in the game, because I guess at some point he was either really broken or really bad, and they had to change him up a lot and do stuff with him. So I get it, but I think again from the competitive standpoint, he's again a killer that people think that is very easy to deal with, but at the same time he's really not though. The chainsaw one hit down thing is insane. It's such a good power to have as a killer, because he can just easily put the pressure on people like crazy, especially when you have to force someone to like unhook you, and then just immediately, you know, get to play again with the idea of like, okay, cool, like if you're gonna try and unhook them while I'm coming toward you, then, you know, then you take the hook and you guys do like a trade. So I don't know, like I said, I feel like this killer is like really, really fun to like see people play around with. So yeah, you know, it's just fascinating to me that like as a killer, ever since that they reworked him as a patch 4.1, he never really had any changes after the fact. I actually didn't even know that. So that's actually pretty crazy. Like I said, I think all in all though, like I think I had to go look at like a list and see like where people put him at. I personally put him at like the middle tier. I think that he's the perfect balance killer. I don't know where he was again prior to this huge patch, but I would strongly say that he was like he's like right now he's a greatly balanced killer, because his risk and reward is there, but the detriment of him not being able to capitalize on his risk and reward is also there. So you either gain a lot or you lose a lot, and it's really easy to showcase that as well in gameplay that you're in where you fight this killer. Because he doesn't have problems killing, but he also has problems covering a lot of ground when he's taking guesses and going in the wrong place, you know. So but yeah, I didn't actually realize that his add-ons were all primarily focused on like his chainsaw movement speed and sprint speed and reduction speed and all that other stuff too. Like I said, I think like personally on a competitive scale, like fighting against him, he's I think is a common choice because he's a killer that comes inclusive with the game, and he's not hard to learn or figure out, but he can definitely be challenging in some cases versus others. Especially because like I can't even tell you how many times like the killer will like rev the chainsaw in front of me, like we're literally right here, and then I like faint, and then he goes that way, and he's just gone. Like that man just runs a far distance, and I don't know how long it can take for him to like stop, but he really does like go very far, and for him to have to recover that ground, it's a hard choice to make sometimes. I feel like you either take that, you know, that choice and try it again, or you go somewhere else and find somebody else to bother. So again, I think that he has a really bunch of different ways to be played, but again, I feel like at a level of me playing against him, the builds that some people come up with really destroy me, and other builds just like don't do anything. It's very fascinating to see how well they come together. But all in all, I think that if I hope people are satisfied with how this killer is now. I have no feedback for the killer. I just think that like the player that plays the killer can really, you know, be the thing that defines the killer. So I don't know, people play him really well, I think, as far as I'm well aware, but I also know that sometimes people just get really unlucky because, you know, you take a swing at a chainsaw and you miss, and then that's it. So hopefully people enjoy this killer how they are now. Let me know in the comments how you feel about the killer as a whole, whether you like him, dislike him, think that he's fine, could be better or worse. I personally think that he's like, as far as my mind's currently thinking, he's like the perfect balance, like the middle level character as a killer that, like, you know, there's really nothing to change about him. And I feel like the patch notes also show that too. I think people are content on both sides, survivor and killer side, that he's great and doesn't need to be changed. And I'm also in the same boat, so let me know and enjoy.